As we speak, Donald Trump is wrapping up a disastrous press conference in which he was confronted by reporters about a variety of topics, including his wildly corrupt pardon of a crypto backer and donor, as well as the fact that one of the January 6th insurrectionists whom he pardoned was just arrested for threatening to kill Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. And Trump's responses to both of these questions are shockingly terrible, even by Trump standards. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Alright friends, let's dive right on into some shockingly bad answers to perfectly valid questions posed to Trump.
Yeah, go ahead please, Blue.
One question about the task force, one about the shutdown. I'm Taylor Poplars with Spectrum News. The same day you established this task force back on January 20th was the same day you pardoned the January 6th defendants.
Yeah, very proud of that. Yeah.
Just last weekend, one of them was charged with allegedly threatening to kill House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. And a big theme of this task force has been allowing law enforcement to do their job and holding accountable people who go after law enforcement. Do you worry that your actions back on day one undermine what this task force is trying to accomplish?
No, you have thousands of people that we're dealing with, and you know, if one...
I want to stop right there. Did you see how he reacted to the news? He literally shrugged. Like, yeah, no big deal. Yeah, no big deal. MAGA Republicans who don't condemn Trump's response to this, his indifference, his callous disregard for the life of Hakeem Jeffries, which was threatened by a violent January 6th insurrectionist that Trump pardoned. Any MAGA Republican who doesn't wholesale condemn it. You should take nothing they say seriously. You should take nothing they say seriously. The expectation that people should condemn political violence and express regret for such things has to cut both ways. It has to go to both political parties. Trump and MAGA demand it of Democrats, and Democrats comply, but they never reciprocate. It is only because of Donald Trump, his lies about the election, his radicalizing rhetoric, that this person was arrested for threatening Hakeem Jeffries. If not for Trump, he would have never threatened Hakeem Jeffries in the first place. If not for Trump, he would not have been around to threaten Hakeem Jeffries. Donald Trump is responsible for this. Instead, he shrugs. Hey, no big deal. But let's hear his answer.
Law enforcement. Do you worry that your actions back on day one undermine what this task force is trying to accomplish?
No, you have thousands of people that we're dealing with, and you know, if one goes haywire, look at what this guy in Virginia said, where he wanted to kill his opponent. He's going to kill his opponent. He's going to kill his opponent's children and I think wife. And he continues to run, and the Democrats continue. He's running for what, Attorney General in Virginia. Look what he said. So now, do you think all Democrats should be prohibited from living anymore? I mean, think of what he said. He's going to kill his opponent, and he's going to kill the children of his opponent.
None of that has anything to do with no one is saying that because you pardoned this man, that no republic, that Republicans shouldn't be living it. Like, what the hell are you talking about? What you should be demanding is that Democrats condemn the Attorney General candidate, which they have, and the Attorney General candidate apologize, but still many Democratic leaders and Democratic influencers, myself included, thinks the guy should drop out. That's what you get from the Democrats. You, on the other hand, have a higher responsibility than anybody to condemn the fact that a violent Trump supporter threatened to kill Hakeem Jeffries, and you won't even do that. Again, Trump is demanding a standard that he refuses to obey himself.
Be prohibited from living anymore? I mean, think of what he said. He's going to kill his opponent, and he's going to kill the children of his opponent, and I think the wife. I said, this guy's sick. That is a sick guy. And how do you vote for somebody like that? But I don't view that every Democrat would say that, because not every Democrat would say that. So you can't, you know, you could have one person, but I don't know of the incident. I can say we're very proud of what we did. We had the courage to do something that should have been done. The problem, sometimes the Republicans are too nice. They're a very nice party. The Democrats play a much dirtier fight. You know, it's amazing. You go after dirty cops like Comey, and you go after, these are dirty cops.
So in response to a question about a Trump supporter whom Trump pardoned, who was radicalized by Trump's rhetoric, who then went on to get arrested a second time for threatening to kill a Democratic leader, Trump says, I don't have any regrets. I'm still very proud of pardoning this man, and Republicans are too nice. So, It sure sounds like, again, he's fostering violence against Hakeem Jeffries. Very despicable. The media and Democrats should be relentlessly talking about Trump's response, his sociopathic response to this question, just like they would if the shoe was on the other foot. But of course, Trump is graded on the curve. I digress. Let's move on to other clips.
Our sea drugs, as they call them, they use the term sea drugs. The drugs coming in by sea are like 5%.
See drugs. See drugs. He's talking about the alleged, drugs that are being brought in via the ocean because he sent the U.S. Navy off the coast of Venezuela to incinerate boats, which may or may not include drug smugglers. Maybe they are, in which case they're entitled to due process and civil liberties. You interdict them. You seize the drugs. You verify that they're drug smugglers, and then you prosecute them accordingly. You don't vaporize them, especially when there's been credible allegations that you've just been incinerating innocent people without due process. Sure, seems like murder, but Trump doesn't give a damn. Let's continue.
Yeah, they're in big trouble, that party. Go ahead.
Some alleged smugglers have survived some of these recent strikes and been sent back to their home country. If they're terrorists, why not just arrest and detain them?
Go ahead.
2 points on that. First, when I served in Iraq in 2005 and 2006, we used to, in sort of a gallows humor way, talk about the Iraqi catch and release program, the reality that we would catch a lot of people, hand them over, and then they would be recycled back through and we'd have to recapture them or attack them again. And that's why changing the dynamic and actually taking kinetic strikes on these boats ought change the psychology of these foreign terrorist organizations. To those two that survived the shot on the semi-submersible, think again, compared to Iraq and Afghanistan, the vast majority of people that we captured on the battlefield, we handed over to the home country. Did we always like how it shaped out? Sometimes we did, sometimes we did not. But 99% would go to the Afghan authorities or the Iraqi authorities. So in this case, those two, they were treated by American medics and handed immediately over to their countries where they came from, hopefully to face prosecution, which is a very standard way of handling something like this.
And you'll do that with future survivors, anyone else who survived?
We've got protocol of how we'll handle it.
So you tried to kill them, not in self-defense. You just tried to kill them. They survived your attempt to kill them, and your response is to treat them and send them back to their home. That just doesn't. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make any sense. If you're going out of your way again, not to kill in self-defense, but to murder these people without due process, and they survive your attempted murder, it's inconsistent to treat them and send them back. It betrays an inconsistency within your own policy, and that's why people are calling you out. Hey, I thought these were terrorists. Why are you treating them? Why are you giving them care? Why aren't you just killing them? Right. Not saying you should be doing any of it, but it's not even consistent. It's just totally ridiculous. They can't be consistent even in their own absurd policy. And you heard Pete Hegseth struggle to get. Yeah. So you remember how we used to send, the enemy back, and then they would, try to kill us again. Well, that's what we're doing here. What? Are you an idiot? Oh, you are an idiot. You are an idiot. Let's continue.
Today you pardoned the founder of Binance. Can you explain why you chose to pardon him, and did it have anything to do with his involvement in your
Which one?
family's?
Who is that?
The founder of Binance. He has a involvement in your own
The
family's
recent
crypto
one, yes.
business.
I believe we're talking about the same person because I do pardon a lot of people. I don't know. He was recommended by a lot of people. A lot of people say that. Are you talking about the crypto person? A lot of people say that he wasn't guilty of anything. He served 4 months in jail, and they say that he was not guilty of anything. That what he did. Well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing. You fake news. But let me just tell you that he was somebody that, as I was told, I don't know him. I don't believe I've ever met him. But I've been told by a lot of support. He had a lot of support. And they said that what he did is not even a crime. It wasn't a crime, that he was persecuted by the Biden administration. And so I gave him a pardon at the request of a lot of very good people.
So you don't know who the hell you pardon. Okay. This sure sounds like an AutoPen thing. You don't know who you're pardoning. You have no idea what you're doing. You're just a puppet, signing shit that your advisors slide over to you. How very Biden of you. Donald Trump, number one. Number two, he was a backer and a donor of World Liberty Financial, so he has contributed materially to your wealth and to your family's wealth. Sure, Seems like a corrupt conflict of interest. You say you don't know anything about him. Then you present some facts about him, that he served 4 months in prison. Then you say, well, my people say he was innocent. He pled guilty, asshole. He pled guilty. You moron. You moron. Wasn't just that. He was convicted. He pled guilty. So he pled guilty and was convicted. And you think he's innocent by what standard? How could you possibly defend that decision? You can't, because you're a moron. And the facts are against you. You just wielded the power you have corruptly to benefit a donor, a backer, somebody who has contributed to your material wealth. That's what the Trump administration does. And then he gets triggered by Caitlin Collins asking perfectly reasonable questions about the corrupt bar, the corrupt pardon. There's some other clips, because I'll be honest with you, just like listening to this stuff, it really is, it wears on me. Couple of clips. We'll just wrap up with some of these. Trump talking about masked ICE agents.
I didn't have a big view on the mask, but I now understand why they should wear masks. I think it's very dangerous for them not to wear masks. They can do whatever they want. I notice some do it and some don't.
It's pretty dangerous to be a law and law enforcement anywhere. It's pretty dangerous to be a judge. It's pretty dangerous to be an FBI agent. It's pretty dangerous to be a president. It's pretty, like all sorts of positions have danger. But in this country, you're supposed to be able to know your accuser. You're supposed to be able to see your accuser. You're supposed to be able to see the agents of the state who are restraining you or detaining you or arresting you. You should be able to identify them. That way it prevents abuses of power, or reduces the likelihood of abuses of power. That's why we don't have them wear masks. And when people say, well, they're being threatened, I'm sorry that they're being threatened, and threats against them should be taken seriously. They are entitled to security. They are entitled to self-defense. What they are not entitled to do is wield the power of life and death with a gun at their hips and mask themselves. You don't get all the power and no accountability. I'm sorry. Some professions, again, judge, law enforcement, civil servant, FBI agent, some positions, take an inherent risk with them. And yes, the risk should be minimized and there should be penalties for threatening them. But no, you don't get total security in exchange for absolute power. You don't get both of those things, because all it does is incentivize corrupt abuses of power. And that's what we're seeing time and time again from these ICE agents. I'm sorry, I know this pisses off a lot of people, and I understand that there are legitimate functions of an agency like ICE, but those functions should be taken over by other agencies, by other departments of relevant jurisdiction, and I should be abolished, not reformed. Abolished. It's irreparably damaged that agency. We should say, hey, listen, if you're a legitimate ICE agent, these functions are going to be carried over by this agency, or this agency are separated between the two. But ICE we know it's defunct, and we're going to do a thorough forensic investigation. And if you are one of these ICE agents who broke the law or violated the civil liberties and civil rights of others, you're going to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. That's what I want to hear from the next Democratic candidate. But I digress. One last clip from Trump bitching about the No Kings protest.
With politicians and the cartels.
We're doing that.
Has
Yeah,
your
we're
task
trying to
force
do
been
that.
looking into that in American politicians?
Yeah, where the money's coming from. Because you see it. Like even that garbage deal they had this weekend, which was embarrassing to them, and the crowds were the crowds were not big. Those crowds were not big at all. But when you look at signs, and they're all made beautifully, the yellow signs, I saw the yellows, the blues, but they're all made professionally in a printing shop, looks like on Madison Avenue someplace. Some guy is paying for all that stuff. And we don't mind protest. Protest is a good thing. I protest. I'm always protesting, right? But when you see some of these people are going crazy. They're going crazy because they're getting paid. Because there's no reason for them to be going crazy. But you watch some of them, and they're professional agitators, and we are finding out who's paying them. Yeah, we have a lot of information about who they are. You're going to be very surprised when you find out.
So the No Kings protest was one of the biggest, I think, if not the biggest single-day protest in American history. 7 million participants in nearly 3,000 different separate demonstrations, objectively far bigger than any pro-Trump demonstration, dwarfs it exponentially in size. It was largely peaceful. Trump is just jealous and pissed that his inauguration crowd is insignificant, tiny micro one might say in comparison, and he can't tolerate any sort of dissent. And again, listen to how he describes it. Garbage, garbage. It was peaceful protest. To disagree with you, imagine Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, President Obama, Hillary Clinton describing peaceful protest against them as garbage. How they would react. All right, folks. So again, Donald Trump says all sorts of stupid, unhinged shit in this press conference. But quite frankly, I don't have the spiritual mental bandwidth to go through it all with you. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, and until next time, I'll see you soon.